Let me segue from my news. I want to just talk about this idea that Hillary Clinton is there's this idea in a lot of circles they believe that Hillary Clinton is the better candidate against Donald Trump, against against the reality of what all the polling data is showing. It's like if the polling data is going to be good enough for you to believe that Hillary Clinton is going to beat him on Super Tuesday, on tomorrow, right? Then surely you have to trust that same polling data when it's in a heads up match against Donald Trump. The only person Hillary Clinton beats is Donald Trump by 1 point. She loses to Rubio, she loses to Cruz, and she loses the most to Kasich. So the best option for the Republican Party would be to somehow get rid of Donald Trump and run John Kasich, and he's likely going to beat her in the general election. But they feel as though they really honestly feel that people give a damn that this is going to be the first woman president and that is enough. No, that is not enough. It is a great thing that I personally am excited over the possibility. I just want it to be the right woman. And I think that's what most people feel. They want it to be the right woman. And the problem is that they feel like this strategy of making people afraid of Donald Trump and afraid of the Republicans, that oh my God, he's the big bad boogeyman, that, you know, all of a sudden we need to forget about everything that we have against a Hillary Clinton and just fall in line because Donald Trump is that bad. Do you know that a lot of Bernie supporters genuinely believe that Hillary Clinton is probably just as bad? I don't personally agree with that, but a lot of people I talk to, and I talk to a lot of people, I feel like Donald Trump now. I talk to a lot of people, and they feel like that. Guys, give me a second. Let me send this tweet out. So it's not going to work. It isn't working. And I want to pull up this summary of the Quinnipiac poll. Actually, I'm going to go to Real Clear Politics because they have the average of polls. But the Quinnipiac poll that came out over the weekend shows that Hillary Clinton loses to John Kasich. She loses to Marco Rubio. She loses to Ted Cruz, and she barely beats Donald Trump. She beats Donald Trump by 1 point. That, my friends, is not going to that's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough. You cannot go into a general election thinking that you're going to get a victory with a candidate who could only beat somebody like Donald Trump by 1 point. Now I'm showing this I'm showing a conversation that I was having with a family member, and I guess I might as well talk about it, right? So there's this idea that Hillary Clinton is going to be better against Donald Trump, and that's counter to all of the evidence. Here's the evidence, Quinnipiac right now, and then we'll look at the Real Clear average so we can get a nice estimate, right? But a nice average. But Quinnipiac has Bernie Sanders beating Donald Trump by 6 points, beating Ted Cruz by 10 points, Marco Rubio by 6, and John Kasich by 4. John Kasich is the best candidate for Republicans to run. That's just for free. Hillary Clinton beats Donald Trump by 1 point, loses to Ted Cruz, right? Ted freaking Cruz by 3 points, loses to Marco Rubio by 7 and John Kasich by 8. But still somehow in the minds of a lot of Americans, and this is not, I've heard this from so many places, they honestly believe that Bernie can't win. This is the greatest cognitive dissonance that I've ever seen. Because you want Bernie, the polling says that he's going to perform better, yet and still people just go with their gut feeling, the truth. What is it? The truthism, the Stephen Colbert, the truthiness. You know, they go with this feeling, this gut feeling that Bernie Sanders is not going to do better when all the evidence shows that he will. And I bring this up because this is something that a lot of people believe, and therefore they're changing or considering not voting for Bernie Sanders in the primaries because they're afraid that Bernie Sanders won't do good in the general, because they're afraid that he's a socialist and nobody's going to elect a socialist. And we can't risk the chance of Donald Trump getting into office. Remember when I said when you use an attack over and over and over again, people become immune to it, inoculated, or whatever you want to use, right? They have used, the same thing goes for the Republican Party. They have used Communism, socialism, Maoism, fascism, Leninism. They've used it ad nauseum. They've used it so much against President Obama that really, who the hell cares if Bernie Sanders is a socialist anymore? What can they say about Bernie Sanders that they haven't said about President Obama ad hominem? Pretty much nothing. So this fear that Bernie Sanders can't win because he's a democratic socialist and America's terrified of socialists is just like this misnomer, this misconception rather, that that Donald Trump won't win because he's a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a xenophobe. Well, he hasn't shown to be. I don't think he's shown to be a homophobe, but you get the idea, right? It is a misconception because Donald Trump, despite being all of these things, is going to win the nomination because Democrats for the last 10 years at least have been calling everybody a racist. So nobody cares that he's a racist anymore. Likewise, Republicans have been calling every Democrat a socialist, particularly President Obama, a Kenyan foreign socialist, Kenyan Muslim socialist. And now nobody cares. Socialism is the new black. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name? Comment.